ate 2 shakes.
Oh, is that what you said?
It That
I
takes,
al
like, a minute to update.
I always just do the Cliff Notes version. There she
Oh,
is.
well, at the end of the day, it made me do it.
That's tight.
It's tight. How are you doing?
It's been one of those days, you know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
One of those
that ain't
days
gonna
you're
work.
supposed to leave at 10, leave at 3 kinda day.
There's nothing I hate worse than it's time to go home and, "Hey, could you stay?"
Yep. Well, I'm a great guy. The managers were singing my praises, so I'm a hero.
I got some other bad news too.
Uh-oh.
So I finally gave in and upgraded my phone.
Oh, okay.
They don't have that kind of connection anymore, so our microphones are worthless
Okay.
unless I can find some kind of adapter.
Yeah, and you are kind of finicky. I wonder if it's your new phone? You're
Doesn't fit
just
in
like a
there.
little lag you're just like a little laggy on my end is what I meant. "Hey, Miss
Really?
Carpenter's here." Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
think
normally do that.
I know. I'm thinking this whole setup and then the far away is not working. Yeah, you've cut out again.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, well, that would be why you cut out.
Yeah.
So, Joy.
So joy. Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Hey, Beat After Beat's here. Look at that.
Mm, the Chip King of Chicago.
Ooh, weren't you on his show recently?
Think I was. I don't remember what day that was. I think it was a week ago.
Oh, a week ago. Okay.
I stopped
Hello,
in.
everybody.
He was opening some box today of chips, so I was there for as long as I could be. But 4 o'clock is my witching hour.
I do like good chips. I'll give you that. The late some sort of competition with a bunch of flavors now. We were able to nab one of them at the store, but it's okay. It was like Korean what was it? Because it had like Korean spices in it, but it was like fried chicken flavored for a potato chip. It was okay.
Oh well, I think he has you beat in that department. No pun intended.
And yeah, he gets them from around the world, doesn't he? Or in like different areas.
His flavors were hardcore. Yeah, there you go.
Maggot cheese chips.
I'm sure that's the one that won. Before I left, I put that one up for what should be next. I assume everybody said that.
Oh my goodness. Maggot cheese. Listen, I had I didn't think about sticking them on.
I'm not 100% sure
Oh,
there's
that's
real maggots in there. I wouldn't think there would be. I think it's a marketing thing.
maybe there is. They eat all. You could eat all kinds of bugs. Maybe that
Could be.
could be. Could be. Well, that is very interesting. I will need to hear how that goes. I don't know what's going on tomorrow. You
All
think
you
I'm
got
going
to
out
do
to
is
lunch? Or,
tune in. I think it's 4 o'clock or something like that.
yeah, the problem is I'm going out to dinner
Oh, you just
with
said lunch. Which is it?
us. Well, they said they offered me up lunch or dinner, and since we have the show at 1, I'm probably gonna take take them up on dinner. What do you think about that?
All right.
Oh, there you go. It's, for my birthday, so they're very nice for doing that. I know.
Where are you going? McDonald's?
No, I don't think we've even decided on a place yet. I was just told about this plan maybe when I picked her up at 6, so I have no clue.
Must be
I just work
nice.
here. I'll just go to wherever they tell me to go.
I
Mm-mm-mm.
I had to have a taco.
I like tacos. I had one Tuesday, I think.
Really?
Taco. You heard of it?
I have heard of that.
And you're a really great guy for giving us some of that meat in your freezer because we have been living off of it and it has been so good.
Some?
So good. Thank you for giving me the meat in your freezer. It
Mm.
has been great.
There's nothing left
I
in that freezer except ice cubes.
You said you didn't eat it anymore. I
Anytime I
said
make
give I said give me what you could and you handed me everything, so I'm going to take it.
she'll eat 1 or 2 things now, so anything in that freezer just doesn't get cooked.
Yeah, and we tried those fries. I know you didn't like the Great Value. They were actually pretty good, pretty decent. Seasoned, and I made some dish plays. Like I've been using all your stuff. Everything I got from that freezer has been going to good use.
Yeah, but, I got some fries that weren't great value that were actually cheaper than great value fries. But then she went
Do you
in and
remember
bought great value fries just because she didn't look at the prices. She just, "Oh, great value, boom."
Great Value? Yeah.
So she got a worse french fry and she paid more
Mhm.
for it.
They
That's
were
the
pretty okay.
problem.
I think we just tried the regular ones, not the waffle cut or the crinkle cut. Excuse me. Waffles, those big ones.
Last night I made her some of her fabulous fries and she turned her nose up at them. So
Oh well, there you go. Well, either way, I've been appreciating, and I've been using that Ninja Grill a lot lately too. So thank you for that as well.
is there anything I don't do for you?
Is whatever you give me seems to go to good use. So I mean, thanks. Tanks.
Sure.
Yeah.
So tell me, did you watch The Man Trap?
Yes, I did not too long ago too. I think I watched it like at 5. So yeah, it's pretty fresh in my brain. Wait, I'm making 20 to eat those maggot chips. Oh, maggot chips.
Hey, for
I'm still not.
$20, I'll go down across the street and punch a maggot in the face.
There you go. I do that too.
Okay, so what did you say? You did watch The Man Trap.
Yeah. And you want to hear my thoughts right off the bat? Just a general kind of thing?
Well, why in fact, why don't you take the lead tonight? Usually it's me gabbing around.
Well, I can gab around and everything. So this is the one that was technically when you're watching it on like Vudu and stuff, it's technically the first episode. The
Mhm.
ones we watched before, but because they're all production dates, they're all messed up. So even though
Mhm.
this was technically the first one, we're just now getting to it. Crap.
Right,
Um,
some executive decided that that episode was the one we should start off with.
which I think was very smart. You
Why?
want to
Oh,
know why?
really? I thought it was the
I
cheesiest one. Well, go ahead.
I didn't think it was the cheesiest one. I think it captured what I think of when I think of the original series. Everything from it. You had a. I wouldn't say it's the most interesting, like kind of thing that's driving them, the salt monster thing, but it was interesting enough, and you got to see each character doing their thing or their introductions. They had some exposition, so you got to meet everybody. For a pilot, I think that's really good, just in general.
Yeah, except the one
Well,
where they're the I don't think we've seen that yet. The one where they're in the tunics and they're playing, three-dimensional chess?
I thought we did see that one, didn't we?
Well, that was the one that introduced the characters to each other. This one, you just have to know who everybody is.
Yeah, but you kind of there was a lot of exposition dumps I noticed. Or maybe that's why they decided to make that the first one because you sort of got the he's a Vulcan, she does that, he does that. It's sort of
Yeah,
you got everybody's vibe. Once they cheese,
I guess so. I
I
know,
I yeah.
Next Generation does a riff on this episode with sort of the
Mhm.
same kind
I
of,
think I
DNA, yeah.
mhm.
So Maybe you're right. And there's also the trope of whoever beams down to the surface, if you're wearing a red shirt or you've
Gone.
never seen that guy before,
If
you're
you never seen
dead.
that guy, he's yep. That
Hmm.
happened. Every single character I recognized died. So
Yep.
there.
Or they have to return to their home planet or whatever it is.
And you had that moment with Uhura where you thought, oh, that wasn't gonna happen.
You know,
That kind of thing, like that. Yeah.
I heard somebody talking the other day about something and they said, "Oh, they gave them the Poochie ending."
Yeah. And you got that right.
Right, that's become a thing
Oh yeah, that is so good. Like, can we just say how good that is?
because in Picard season 2, Wesley Crusher gives what's her name a Poochie ending.
Where it's just like whoop whoop whoop. Honestly, Wesley was kind of a Poochie ending, wasn't he? Where they're just like, okay, he's gonna go do this time stuff now. Bye.
Yeah, except for they kept bringing him back with no explanation, but yeah.
And I do remember that. I watched season 2 of Picard after, because I remember we watched season 1 when I hadn't really seen any Star Trek,
Is
and
that
then
true?
I was. It's true. I didn't know any of the people, but we were
Well,
watching it because it was new, exciting, and then
mhm.
I ended up after episodes. I said I don't want to be included in this show anymore. Is where it happened.
Wise choice.
And then we watched. Yeah, we watched a bunch of episodes, and by the time season 2 came out, I just skipped right over to season 2, and it was interesting. Except I
Well,
actually kind of keep
excuse I need a cough button. AC, if you haven't
uh,
seen this episode, you may want to dip out because we'll definitely be talking about heavy spoilers. So I leave it to you to use your best judgment. We always spoil.
oh yeah, we're about to go through everything I can remember from this episode in order. So, do you want
I thought
to?
you just watched it.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
So you want me to kick it off?
Yeah, why don't you kick it off and I'll take it from there.
Okay, well, they arrive at a planet and there's somebody I think the excuse was he's been left behind, so they're coming to evacuate them. They're colonists and Bones hears the name and remembers that hey, that's my old girlfriend or something. So he starts acting a little weird.
Yeah, he's in love.
Or well, at first he's like um aghast. It's not
Mhm.
until he gets down to the planet where he's in love.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I started really paying attention when they got down to the planet because I remembered this episode and I knew what was coming. I just didn't quite remember how it all went out at the
Hmm.
time. But I think you get down there and you see this chick
Yeah, you just frozen there,
Koyu's
Chief.
date, but doesn't.
Right
Oh,
at
I
the
just
start
froze
of your
there.
right at
How's that?
the
How's
start of
now?
your exposition, you turned into Max Headroom.
Okay, yeah, because you've been Max Headroom this whole
Yeah,
time.
I
I
don't
gotta
think
be
this
honest.
works.
I don't know if
I don't know what's
I'm wondering if.
changed, but there's something in your black hole. It just doesn't work anymore.
Well, you got a new phone. You don't think that could
The
be it?
phone is better than the old phone.
Well, maybe it can't connect to my primitive phone.
No, I think
I got a kind of old.
you have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so that's premium shit there, bro.
Do you want me to try rejoining and connecting to the Wi-Fi again, or what? What do you want me to do?
Let's just plug ahead, and if this keeps happening, I always watch these playbacks. If it keeps happening, we'll have to figure something else out.
Okay. Maybe I can figure out when I come to get my laptop on Monday, probably. I can figure out how to. I think there might be a way to receive texts or like be able to pull up your messages, but I have no clue. I'd have to look into that because then I could connect to the Ethernet cord.
Okay, well, we'll just tape like 10 of them, and then I'll give you 10 weeks off.
Nah. So everybody who comes down with them sees a different lady. She appears different to them.
Well, I mean, you're
And
jumping right to the gravy there.
okay.
At first, you don't know that. Everybody is reacting to her different, but you don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, we're not supposed to know that yet because I know this episode. I knew what the thing was immediately, but they're
Right.
all differently. But you
Uh,
kind of
Bones
get the.
here, Bones sees a hot chick.
Mhm.
Kirk sees an old dirtbag.
Mhm.
So when Bones starts going on about how she hasn't changed a day, Kirk actually calls him out on it,
Mhm.
which is a little
Like,
rude.
yeah, he's very something this episode. He's like full of like he had too many sugar snaps for breakfast kind of
He,
thing.
he's in full Shatner mode.
Exactly. That's why it's so great. You're telling me that's not a great pilot? You get the big Shatner introduction thing?
Well, that's a little
I think
rude,
it's
huh?
a little rude, but he's always kind of just like a touch rude, you know? That's sort of
This
who he
this
is.
is supposed to be the future and everything's perfect, utopia,
Mhm.
and he's a bit of
And
a
he's a
dick.
yeah. Well,
Mm.
that's just been his character. You're saying that's not true?
So anyway, somebody sees everything different, but then my recollection is that somebody yells off screen or something like that.
Mhm. It's that chick and a crewman you've never seen before. They kind of go off. I don't remember what they were doing. I got to be honest. They just kind of left and Kirk's talking to this guy and or sorry, he starts talking to this girl's husband.
Right. We probably should mention there's a husband there, and
Yeah.
he is awfully cagey.
Yeah, he wants to be left alone. He says he likes solitude, get off of here, and then he throws in we need more salt tablets.
Yeah, yeah, he knows he wants what he wants and then get out.
Exactly. He was like, "We you need to replenish our stuff, get out." That sort of thing. So he's not very cooperative.
He's just
Uh
like me on a Saturday night, you know what I mean?
yep, I know exactly what you mean. Get out. But those two go off to do something and you hear a scream from the woman. So everybody runs out there and the guy was there. He collapses on the ground and he's got these weird like
Suction cup marks?
yes, like suction cups. That's what I was looking for. He's got
Mhm.
these suction marks all over him. And the woman is all like in tears, traumatized, and like, tell us what happened. Like,
By
Kirk
the
just
way,
goes
now
there with like,
now that I say that, the thumbnail for this video is a bit of a spoiler.
is it? I didn't see.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I think so. Nobody will put those 2 things together.
Yeah. But got the suctions all over him. She's all traumatized. Kirk's now mad because one of his crewmen has died. And he's like, you better tell us what happened. You were here when he died. And she kind of gets it out. She was like, I went off somewhere and I saw him on the way back and he had I can't remember the name of the plant, but he said he had this plant in his hand and she was like, before I could warn him, he took a bite of it and he collapsed to the ground. So they're saying it's like a poisonous plant that he was just eating off the ground for whatever reason. That's the story.
And Kirk seems to buy it a little bit.
He kind of buys a little bit. He's like, oh, what? Well, because I guess new planet, but why would you think his guys are going around eating plants off of the ground on a planet they don't know? You
I
know?
got I gotta tell you, when they've got those space nuggets up on the ship, I don't know why you'd be eating brush.
Yeah, I don't entirely. That's sort of the point where I had to suspend my disbelief a little bit because I'm just like, okay. They send the guy back up because he buys it a little bit. They go back up to the ship and they're sort of examining him. And they're like, oh, what does he say? Because at first he thinks it like, oh yeah, the poison, but he like misses some big detail. The fact that all the salt was drained from his body. Like he had missed that the first time. Because at first he was just like, oh, there's some weird abrasions on him, but the plant they find is compared to like Nightshade here, and they're like, well, why would he have those marks all over his body? And Dr. McCoy starts getting all weird kind of stuff. Am I getting this right so far?
Good enough, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's roughly the vibe. Because there's a lot of sort of, I made a mistake, I didn't know. I already knew the plot, so I'm just like, okay, get to the part where all the salt's out of his body. So they
Which
finally
what
out.
which McCoy doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, and he, like, blames it on the fact that he's like, "Oh, I must have been all lovey-dovey down there, you know? I must have got distracted," was what he said. And
Did,
Kirk kinda snaps at him, "I don't
did
care about all that," you know?
and did we mention the two are married?
What do you mean by that?
We didn't mention that those two are married, the colonists.
Yeah, we did.
Did we? Because Bones is acting a little bit inappropriate.
Yeah, he's sort of, like, all loving on this chick and she's married. Yeah, I said the husband and those 2 were married down there,
Okay.
um, some point earlier. So that kinda happens. Remind me what happens next. I'll get it. It's just I'm
You get a
working through.
series of the same thing keeps happening.
Mm.
Isolated security officers wind up dead with the same marks, and Kirk gets angrier and angrier.
They go back to the planet to be like, "Hey," like, Kirk was all fired up when he went down there. He was like, we need to see the wife, blah, 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 blah," and they go out looking for the wife because she's not there, and they run into the dead crewman, St. Mark, and everything, and what this chick does, she's hiding off to the side. She had killed another one of the crewmen, Green, his last name was, because they yelled it 50 times. That's the only reason I knew that. Green, because they didn't have the transmitters, so they were just yelling each other's names whenever they were looking for them.
Oh, they didn't have communicators?
He used a communicator to talk up to the ship, but in that desert area, they just yelled each other's names,
So
like, really loudly.
perhaps it
Yeah.
was they didn't have enough of those made yet.
Yeah, and they kept being like, "Green, I need a report." This chick hiding off to the side just had some lunch, ate some more salt from this guy's body.
Well, now you've
Um,
given something another major point away.
yeah.
At this point, we don't know that yet. We think she's killing them, but turns
Yeah.
out she's removing all the salt from their body. That's why they need the salt cubes.
Yeah, because he, like, just brings out this regular old jar, and there's these little salt tablets, and he's like, "We're down to here, we need more of these," like, he's very insistent on the salt, and I forgot to mention earlier, she was also asking for the salt too. She was making sure, like, the guy had just died, and she was like, "Oh, but make sure we get our salt. Did you ask about the salt?" You know, like, kinda weird after she was just traumatized, and
This chick likes salt.
she likes the salt. But she basically, like, shapeshifts into the guy she just killed, Green, Mr. Green,
So that was another
and comes out
wrinkle.
and yeah,
That was another wrinkle that she could actually look like the person she killed.
exactly. She could look like whoever she wanted to look like, I think. That's true, right?
I thought she had to sample them first.
No, 'cause, she didn't sample Ahura and turned into that guy who she was just thinking about,
Oh, okay.
you yeah, so I don't think that she has to sample. I think she can turn into whoever she wants, and she kind of goes in their brain and like picks someone they care about or were thinking about, and then like become them. Which it's another plot point later. maybe why she does that, but I'll get to that when I get to that.
So she's quite talented.
Exactly. She shows up as green, and he was like, "Oh, well, this other crewman died. I was wrapping around to see what happened. I didn't see anything." They go back up to the ship, all of them. They leave that guy down there because they're gonna go use the computers up there to check for the wife because they don't know. And Dr. McCoy's getting mad. He's not gonna leave her out there. She could be in trouble.
Well, and the point is, Kirk has now had enough, and he essentially kidnaps the husband and
That's
will
later.
kidnap the wife.
Later.
How could that be
I'm
later?
sure it is.
Everybody's dead.
You keep freezing.
Do I really?
Yeah,
Hmm. So
at least on mine.
tiring. All right, go ahead.
I know. So they go back up to the ship to check for the wife, and you sort of get to follow Green for a while because we know it's this chick in disguise, and he's just being weird. He's going around, he's like spying on one of the yeomen. That's how you say it, right?
Hmm.
Yeoman. She has like a tray of food that she's bringing to Sulu, but
Look
she
delicious.
yeah, the celery sticks with weird feathers coming out of them. Those look perfect. But there was a salt and pepper shaker on it, and not saying anything, just kind of following her around, looking at that salt and trying to grab it. And she like hits his hand away. It's like, "What are you doing?" You know? And he's just watching. You know? He doesn't get the salt, and at some point they're starting to question his behavior because she's like, "He's not talking. He's acting weird," and then he just leaves. You know? You want to take it? Let's take turns.
Well, so basically what it boils down to is people start dying up on the Enterprise.
Hmm.
And
True.
they still haven't figured out what all these rings are.
Hmm.
But what I
Yeah. This.
remember is at some point we get into Kirk's quarters. Kirk is in some sort of trance in his chair. He's almost like a Dracula that can hypnotize you. And
Hmm.
then she starts going after Spock. She has super strength. Spock tries to subdue her, but he gets knocked down to the ground. And McCoy walks in and he's telling McCoy, shoot her. That's not whoever you think it is. Start firing. And
Hmm.
you get one of those great scenes where she suction cups Kirk's face and he just goes, "Ah!" Some of that great
Once again,
Shatner acting,
another great Shatner acting thing. I love it. That's great.
isn't
The
it?
best I ever seen. The best I've ever seen. Yeah, but that suctioning happens. Goodness, what happens right after that? I don't know why I'm having such trouble. I think it's because
So
I've
what
been.
we find out is that guy's wife died a long time ago from
Mhm.
whatever that creature is.
Yeah, the salt monster.
And she had just been pretending to be the wife so she could keep getting
Because
salt.
yeah, he was gonna keep providing salt for her so he could still hang out with his wife. Because
Because
what's
if he
revealed.
doesn't get the salt, she's going to eat him.
Yep. Or move on to someone else.
Right.
Both of those. But it was revealed like so for the creature to live, it needs the salt. Obviously, it loves the salt, and then it also needs love. That was a big thing. It said it's almost as important as the salt. That's why she can shapeshift into like the person you're thinking about or a person from your past because that love is what she likes. That's why she liked hanging around Dr. McCoy because he was really digging that one. So she kept looking like, "Ooh, I love getting love
That's
and
why I don't
salt,"
understand why Kirk didn't just fly her back to Earth and drop her off near a salt mine.
and just be like, "Go at it."
Yeah, she can hang out with the miners and put a little salt on her salad.
Yeah, what did end up happening to her? I must have missed that. Did she die? Get shot?
Bones killed her.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought happened, but for some reason I was like, that doesn't seem very humane, but I guess she was killing people, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what can you do?
What are you gonna do? She killed a bunch of crewmen. We don't know the name of one of them besides Green, but they're all dead.
You can't let something that ugly live.
Exactly. It's gotta go.
That's the
We're not
high
gonna figure out a
ideals
solution.
of the future.
Because that husband was like defending her. It was like, well, it's just a creature. It's trying to live, but it's like, at some point, you're killing a bunch of people.
I mean,
So,
you could certainly make that case that
well, that's what.
in the proper environment, that salt monster would not be a problem.
And it was like a super rare creature too. I think he said it was the last of its kind.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. So that was it. All gone. Nothing about it. New life and new life forms keeping them alive. Nope. The last one, shoot it.
I'm surprised Strange New Worlds hasn't pilfered that.
Yeah, they love grabbing that old stuff.
Like they found a salt monster before, so they could bring it
Before
back.
we. Yeah, that would actually be a good idea. You should send them an email.
Yeah, I mean, they come up with the weakest, thinnest excuses, so I'm sure they could come up with one. Like the
Send them a
computer
fax or
bank
something.
was erased or whatever.
Or it could be at a time period because during that Strange New Worlds takes place before original series, right?
Yep.
So this could be in a time in which there was more than one salt monster because she's the last of her kind. There could have been more
Hmm.
died maybe in that incident than one. I mean, you could make that case.
But you'd have to explain how no one else knows about it, because Kirk had
Yeah,
no idea, or Bones, or apparently Spock.
yeah, I guess that's bad. That's probably where you'd fall on
By the
trying
way,
to bring that back.
do you remember how they explained away that Michael Burnham was Spock's sister?
Yeah, I do. I do remember that because it was weird.
What was it?
He was like, because she got teleport. Is it okay if I spoil that show?
Nobody cares. Nobody watches it.
Okay. So she gets teleported to the future, and they're like, well, you gotta pretend like you never had a sister because we're just gonna put this on lock. We're gonna put this in a file cabinet and burn it or whatever. We don't wanna file this away. So
Right.
he had to
How you totally erase that part of Spock's history is Spock just keeps it on the DL.
yeah, he made a promise to was it to Pike? Not
To
to
Pike.
tell? Or
To Pike.
wasn't it Pike?
Oh, to Pike. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was it.
I don't remember them telling Pike any. I don't remember. I just remember
I thought
it was a big secret. That's how nobody knew of the discovery either.
yeah.
They had to
Like
keep that
it was just
secret.
a race because they got sent off to who knows where. Did they know that it got sent off to the future? I don't even know that.
I remember there was like a one-way trip.
Okay. But they did know about that and they're just like gonna pretend like it didn't happen. Which
Right.
why? I don't know. I just work here,
I have
man.
no clue, 'cause like so nobody would follow them in. I couldn't even begin to explain their writing there. So that's the end of that. Um, how many missing communicators do you give this episode from 1 to 5?
Problem is we have so many good ones coming up.
Well, they
I
can
don't
all
want to give
be
it a
5s. If you like everything, it's not a zero-sum game. If you really love this
mhm.
episode, it could be a 5 and so could something else.
I might give it a 4.
Really?
Absolute perfect. Like I said, that salt monster thing, it was interesting, but it wasn't like the best plot, but I think it had everything you wanted. You had Shatner overreacting, you got little intros to everybody, what everybody did, working around the ship. I think for a pilot episode, I give it 4.
Well, it wasn't really a pilot episode.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
They were halfway through the weeds at this point.
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you have to give extra points because Shatner's acting.
Yeah, always.
Period. And you have to give extra points because it was a big greasy monster.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna have to give this 3.5 missing communicators.
That's a pretty good score. Basically mine. We were pretty close last time too, if I recall.
But a lot of it is the multipliers.
Yeah, but you got to keep those in.
Yep. If you
Got-
agree with me, anyways.
I agree with you. Always got to put an extra for that acting. When we get to the episode where he's acting like a woman, that's probably going to get 10 communicators.
Well, I'll probably be dead by then.
Oh, well, I hope not.
All right. Well, so that's it. I want to thank everybody who's
Uh,
watching. I don't. What is going to be next week? Do you remember?
no, I don't. I'd have to go check the list. Do you want me to go check real quick or do you not care?
Maybe I can do it. How about I'm sitting here at a computer?
All right, do your
Th-
best.
this is the space age, right?
You glitched out way too much for me to understand that.
I said this is the so-called space age, or at least post-space age.
Yeah, I suppose so. Suppose. Gotta remember it's a production order.
Thank you.
That's how they get ya.
The Naked Time.
Can I get like a little taste of what it's about? Because I could
Yeah,
probably remember it.
everybody gets space drunk.
I remember this one.
Hmm.
I just, like I said, if I get a little taste of the plot, then I usually know what we're talking about. That's a great episode.
So you get the Naked Time, which is next week. Then it starts cooking because you get Charlie X,
I know that.
and then you get Balance of Terror, which is one of the all-time
What
best episodes.
what's Balance of Terror? Give me a taste. I know Charlie X.
Balance of Terror is the sort of submarine episode. The Federation realizes that the Romulans have invented a cloaking device, and if it
hmm
makes it back across the border, it'll mean war. So Kirk has to
That is a great.
destroy that ship.
That is a very plot heavy and world building episode. But yeah, it's very interesting if I remember right.
Yep. So it's good. All right. Well, thank you. I know you're tired,
Thank you.
so
I'll see you tomorrow for Pet Shop Boys at 1.
yes. Have you done your homework?
I've done most of it. I got like 1 or 2 left, so pretty
Yeah, I
good.
got it. There's very few things we're clipping out of there. The demos are worth listening to.
So do I
Sorry.
need to go demos?
You could do a little refresher. The only thing you don't have to do is like those main songs that are remixes.
Okay, remixes of the main songs I get to skip, but I need to listen.
The demos were good enough, in my opinion, to be songs.
Okay.
They all had their little flowers. So,
Yeah, I'll need to do that then.
all right. Just try to do what you
All
can
right,
do, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you.
tomorrow. Bye, Laser Brain.
Bye. And special thank you to AC. She always shows up. Thank you, my dear. You are wonderful.